You can tell where we are in the transfer world. It's the second day in a row we're leading with Julian Alvarez, but that's where we are. This is what he had to say, of course, about his future at Manchester City. I feel very good. I played a lot of minutes, but we'll see after Olympic Games. First, if I can, I'll always take a few days off. Then we'll decide. Maybe it's annoying to be left out of big games. Players always want to help on the pitch, but my season was good, so I'm very happy. We, of course, discussed that yesterday. A new element to it is Pep Guardiola. Referring to that quote, here's what he had to say.
Well, I don't think about replace, but I knew that they said that he's going to think about it when he finished to think about it. So his agent is going to call Chiqui. You're going to see what happened. So I know he want to play in important moments, yeah, but the other ones too. They have 18, 19 players as well that they want to play the important games. So I read that he has to think about it. Okay, think about it. And after that, he will inform us what we want to do.
I don't think there was a player that played in more games than Alvarez on City. I think he had the most of it.
Yeah, play a lot. Yeah, he want more, it's fine. So that's why, think about it. And when think about it, he will inform us.
Alvarez then responded to those comments by saying, I didn't say anything bad, so I have nothing to say. I just said I need to think it over, as I always do after every season, to make a balance. I always say that I'm comfortable at Manchester City. It's a great club, so I didn't say anything bad. For more on this, let's welcome in, shall we? Frank Leboeuf is with us, as is Mark Ogden. I want to go to you guys in a moment, but I want to start with you, Steve, because the first time you heard that Guardiola quote, you said?
Don't remember.
You said yes. That's exactly what you should be saying.
Alvarez?
No, Guardiola.
When was this?
5 minutes before we went on air. Right, that's it.
I don't remember.
Did you not say that? Did I make that up?
No, I don't.
OK, so you don't agree with what Pep said?
No, I just think it was a little prickly.
Right.
And I'm trying to figure out, why would it be so prickly? I mean, at the end of the day, Alvarez is under contract. And he probably knows he's going nowhere. And so he's maybe just trying to be clever with the guy that asked the question. But I just found it a little strange that he was so prickly about it.
Mark, we've seen this before, haven't we, with Pep Guardiola, over he said if players want to leave, they can leave. It's interesting that he has chosen to make a comment about this, to answer questions about it.
Yeah, I think the difference is in the past, the players that Pep has said, if they want to leave, that's fine, have been players that he wants to leave. You know, Raheem Sterling, Riyad Mahrez. I think they were players that he wasn't overly bothered about losing. I think Alvarez, he knows that it would be a loss. You know, Erling Haaland is the main man, we know that, but Alvarez plays a lot of games, he starts a lot of games, he scores a lot of goals. So Pep won't want to lose him. And this season as well, in particular, they've got the Club World Cup at the end of the season. City could play 75 games this season. 75 games. So that means that Haaland is not going to play anything like all of those games. Alvarez will play a lot of games this season. But you can tell by what Alvarez is saying that it sounds like he feels that he wants to be a main guy somewhere. And I guess one of the difficulties that Man City and Pep Guardiola have now is that all of their players have won everything at City. They've nothing else to achieve at City apart from winning it all again. Now, I guess if you're 24 years old, you're from Argentina, you've had 2 years at Man City, you've won the Champions League, the Premier League, the FA Cup, everything. You're probably thinking, well, I've done my time at City now, I can be a main guy somewhere else and I want to leave. And it's understandable that he wants to leave because it'd just be kind of repeating it all again at Man City, albeit very well paid, albeit winning big medals. But you can tell from Pep Guardiola's comments, his kind of exasperated comments today, that he feels that he's probably a little bit annoyed that one of his better players is leaving. But I think it's a control thing with Pep as well. He likes to be in control of his players. He likes to be the boss. And Alvarez sounds like he feels that, well, you know, I'm big enough and old enough to do what I want to do, and I don't think Pep likes that.
Obviously, you look at... Go on, Steve. Sorry.
I don't agree with that, Oggy. I don't know whether you... I mean, you're closer to Alvarez than I am, but I don't... I mean, he's coming off 59 games last season, the most he's ever had. Yeah. Yes, he'll be disappointed he never played in the big games, the so-called important games, but I just don't see how this guy's going to all of a sudden want away. He's going to turn around next week when he supposedly speaks to his agent and says, I want to go.
You don't get it at all?
I don't see it at all.
But here's a player who's won the World Cup, who's won the Cup with Argentina, who was given the opportunity and did well last season. Yep. But when Kevin De Bruyne comes back and when Erling Haaland comes back, he's back on the bench.
Well, again,
surely as a professional, you understand that mentality.
I absolutely do, but again, I understand there's a hierarchy, and if Julian Alvarez thinks he's playing before Kevin De Bruyne and Haaland, then he's very much mistaken. But I think the timing's wrong. If this is this time next year, then I would be talking about a completely different scenario. I don't think the time is right at all.
Why? Why does that change anything?
Well, because last season was another step forward for him. It was another step forward.
He knows,
played more games. The
but
reason he played more games is because his game's better. And he used them more.
The reason he played more games is because the bigger boys are injured. That's why. It wasn't as if he was being preferred to the other players. So it's going to be exactly the same scenario. Exactly the same scenario in 12 months' time. He's going to be so why is it the wrong timing?
That's your opinion.
No, it's not an opinion. It's fact.
No,
it's a fact.
It's your opinion.
At the end of the season, in all the big games, Julian Alvarez didn't start. So
but
why
he's not going to start against Kevin De Bruyne and
So
Haaland.
why stay then? Why does the 12 months? Why does 12 months make a difference?
So let me ask you a question now. So has he ever played in the same team as Kevin De Bruyne and Haaland?
Yeah, of course he has.
Of course he has.
But
so
he's not preferred, is it?
So
It's not Guardiola's preferred 11, is it?
He's not going to be ahead of Kevin De Bruyne and Haaland.
So why does what happens in 12 months make any difference? Why not make a change now?
He's going to play another 59.
Oh, great. OK, Carabao Cup games, FA Cup, brilliant. That's not what he wants. He's been there, he's done that. He's won the trophy.
I'm just telling you, the timing's wrong. But the timing's wrong.
You haven't told me why.
If it's this time next year...
Well, why? What difference does that make?
Well, so you're saying, right, that he's not playing this year?
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. No, I'm saying that is exactly the pattern...
Well, if Kevin De Bruyne's fit and Haaland's fit, then you're saying he's not playing?
Exactly, yeah. The pattern is going to be the same that we saw last season, and he knows that, and that's why he's thinking he wants to leave.
I don't agree with you. I don't think the time's right for him to leave. If it's this time next year, then I would be in a different... I'd be in a different camp.
But what changes?
Well, because it might change. He might play a different position.
How is it going to change? What's going to happen?
He might play a different position.
What's he going to start playing centre-back? What's going on?
OK, so you saw Pep 2 seasons ago sticking the full-back into the middle of midfield, didn't you?
So what, Julian Alvarez is going to do that?
Oh, so you saw Stones... A centre-back stepping into midfield.
Oh, this is exactly the same. Exactly the same scenario.
Well, no,
it's fine. No, it's okay.
No. Did you see those things happening?
If you can't come, what you think Julian Alvarez is going to play? What, a right back now?
No, you're being stupid.
Well, why bring John Stones up? Why John Stones makes any difference into this conversation?
The point of John Stones...
The point of Julian Alvarez wants to be a big boy.
Do you want to hear what I'm saying or no? The point of John Stones and the full-backs is we didn't see that coming. We didn't see... Centre-back.
So what's Alvarez?
Where's he going to play midfield?
What's he going to do with him?
Play him in one of the wide areas.
In place of who?
In place of Grealish on the left. Grealish never got a game.
Right.
Grealish never played.
Oh, so Doku... Doku, we just forgot about Doku now, yeah? Doku just doesn't exist?
Well, but the other side, Silva.
Well, Bernardo Silva, yes.
Bernardo Silva's getting old.
But again... Bernardo
Silva.
But again, you're following...
But you don't know. You don't know what Pep's going to do. We don't know what Pep's going to do.
Julian Alvarez is ambitious, yeah? He's been here, he's won everything.
Of course he is.
So why doesn't he want to go and move to a club where he's a starter, where he's the man, where he knows he doesn't have to rely on other people being injured to start a game?
I've told you before, I don't think the timing's right. I think it would make a mistake.
Frank Leboeuf, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. So much to say, and I'm sorry, but that's the first time I would have to be with Dan Thomas in that explanation, because I really think that...
You've gone down in the explanations now.
No, but I really think, Stevie, that Julian Alvarez has the right to complain about his positioning as a second choice for 2 positioning, as a number 10, where Kevin De Bruyne plays, or Alan. He knows that he won't be in a starting position if those 2 are not injured. And Dan is right. That's not comfortable for him. That's not convenient for him, because he's a champion of the world. He's a Copa America winner. He feels, and he has a right to, that he needs a better trust from Guardiola, maybe. But we know, and it's a fact, that Guardiola will put Alan and Kevin De Bruyne ahead of him. That's a fact. And Johnston, you take the example of Johnston. Johnston was playing. He was playing. He put him after in the middle of the park. Julian Alvarez, he won't find a room for Julian Alvarez. No way. No way. He wants him to stay second choice. And I think Julian Alvarez has the right to complain about or say, you know, we think about it. That's only fair. Now, yes, Guardiola is pickily in that situation. I love that pickily word. Is exasperated about the fact that once somebody complains about it, because normally you don't complain. And when Guardiola doesn't want a player, you know it. Sterling or some others, Gabriel Jesus, because they weren't good enough anymore for Manchester City. It's not the case for the first time for Alvarez. He has Cole Palmer as well, who wanted to leave because he didn't have enough time. And that's the first time that somebody is complaining publicly. It's why he doesn't like it. He doesn't like to be tested publicly. That, I think, is why he's concerned and exasperated about the situation.
So let me ask you a question then. If you're Alvarez, is there any thought in your head that in 12 months' time Kevin De Bruyne is leaving the club?
That's a possibility, but
So
Guardiola...
and again, that's just a reason for staying. If you go somewhere else and Kevin De Bruyne leaves, and all of a sudden you go, what did I do that for?
Well, yeah, but Guardiola said that he doesn't want Kevin De Bruyne to leave this season. So Alvarez is going to be on the bench another season when he's been like 3 years on the bench, winning the World Cup, winning the Copa America. Yeah, playing 55 games, but not the best games, not the important games. And he has a standard and the status to hope for better. I understand him. And if Kevin De Bruyne stays, he's going to be on the bench.
I'm talking about this time next year. If Kevin De Bruyne goes, if you're Alvarez and you say, right, I've had enough, I'm going, and then in 12 months' time, you could be playing in that position, but you're somewhere else. Does that not come into your
Stevie,
head?
Yeah, of course.
Surely that has to come into your head.
Like, I go with you in that situation, and maybe we don't know what's going to happen in 1 year from now. Neymar left Barcelona because he wanted to be the #1 in Paris Saint-Germain. It never happened because he never found the right thing over there. And maybe Alvarez won't find, but you have to take decisions. He's in a position where he can say something. If next year he's still on the bench and he says something, and maybe Guardiola takes on somebody else instead of because Kevin De Bruyne leaves, it will say nothing. Because he won't be in the same position that he is right now after winning the Copa America.
Well, I'll be shocked if Alvarez says he wants to go.
Speculation is rife, of course, not only about Alvarez's future, but it's been interesting over the last few months, isn't it, about the future of Kevin De Bruyne and that possible move to Saudi Arabia. This is what Pep Guardiola had to say about that.
The club informed me that didn't get any offer. So to leave, they have get an offer. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I would love, of course, to stay. So he's the eldest player here. So he was here before I arrived. I'm the second oldest, but he's the, and it's important. But whatever, it would happen with David, for example, and other players. Like he won the, I would say, the credit to decide his future for his son, for himself. So what he has done for our club is massive. That's why he has to decide. So the info I have right now is to stay.
Much less prickly, Oggy.
Yeah, but I'm not sure I fully believe what Pep's saying there. Pep knows how it works. We're still in July, and nothing's decided in July in the transfer market. We know last year, I think, was it one of the Saudi Arabian clubs bid £150 million for Mel Salah the day before the window closed. So, I mean, Liverpool rejected that, but Saudi Arabian clubs will make late moves. And I think what Pep Guardiola says now, what he's told now about Chiki Baguristan will change. It'll change in 2 or 3 weeks' time when the season starts, when Pep realises what he's got, what he needs. And De Bruyne might get an offer the week before the window which says, look, if you come now, we'll pay you this. And De Bruyne will be thinking, well, what happens? Maybe, who knows? He's had injuries for the last 2 years. What if he gets another injury at City and it affects his chances of going to Saudi Arabia next summer? So there's too many moving things that can happen right now. And I think, City, I think they've only brought one player in Savinho from Girona, who obviously is another element of the Alvarez situation. It's another forward. So I think a lot can happen at City. And even if De Bruyne leaves, I don't think it will make any difference for Alvarez, because we haven't mentioned Phil Foden in this discussion.
The US men are through to the knockout stages of the Olympics. They'll face Morocco in the next round. Mihajlovic would score a nice opener in the 14th minute, kind of set the tone for the whole game, which US were pretty much in control of. Paredes would score either side of half-time to give the US a 3-0 win. Just to confirm then, it's them and France who advance to the next round. France with a victory against New Zealand. For more on this, let's welcome in Sebastian Salazar. Sebi, what this the first time that they've made it through. Dun, dun, dun. They've made it through to the knockout stages in quite a while.
Yeah, since the year 2000 when they made it to the bronze medal match, lost to a Chile team that featured Ivan Bam Bam Zamorano. It's a significant achievement. I think a lot of times the world kind of looks down at the men's side of the Olympic tournament because it's under 23. But you know how it is, Dan, here in the United States. The Olympics is a big deal. And after the Copa America, if this team can continue on this run, it would help maybe wash the sour taste out of a lot of American fans' mouths about how this summer's gone. But it was a great performance today. I mean, the U.S. team knew exactly what they had to do, and they delivered and really didn't leave it kind of in any dramatic way for the end. As you mentioned, great opening goal, free kick golazo from Jordi Mihajlovic, one of the overage players. They had a second by the half-hour mark, and at 2-0, the game and the qualification was basically clinched. So a big day for this American squad, and one tactical change that I think worked a little bit. Duncan Maguire is kind of the only true 9 on the team. They took him out. They went with a front 3 of Paredes, Aronson, and Griffin Yao. None of those guys are true 9s, but it was very, very dangerous. And I just wonder if for the coming quarterfinal, the manager might stick with that front 3 because it looked really, really good today.
Well, I suppose the question is, why wouldn't he, Seb?
Well, I guess it depends on matchups and what he's looking for. Like I said, Duncan Maguire gives you that true big target forward number 9. If that's something you figure you're going to need in this game against Morocco, then I could see going with him. But really, I loved what I saw from this front 3 today. It was dangerous. It was fluid. And I think the game against Morocco is quite accessible. I mean, first things first, you avoid Argentina. You avoid Julian Alvarez, which according to the rundown of this show for the last few days is the greatest player on planet Earth. So I think that's a plus for the United States. Morocco's a good team. They've got Hakimi. They've got a bunch of really good players. They probably got the best 4 or 5 players combined between these two rosters. They'll be the favorite. They'll also be an effective home team probably against the United States. But I think it's an accessible game. And if the United States can get one of these set pieces where they've been very dominant so far in this tournament, it could be a way into the medal rounds. And what an achievement that would be for this U.S. team that I don't think we had any type of expectations that they could win a medal at these Olympics.
So what's your prediction against Morocco then, Seb?
Let's be optimistic, shall we? For once, I think this U.S. team is rolling. They've got quite a bit of momentum. Seeing this U.S. team score the way they have throughout the group phase isn't something that we're really accustomed to seeing from American teams. And not only that, but they have a killer instinct that I think the senior national team has lacked in some big moments. I really like this group of players. They've kind of flashed before. I know it was at a different level, but this is the core of this team was part of the under-20 team that did really well at the World Cup and dominated CONCACAF. So it's a group that's been together for a long time. And I think even though the names they've picked for the overage guys really aren't that sexy, it's a couple center backs and Mihajlovic, who's a string-pulling 10 and a guy who's kind of fun to watch. I think those pieces have really, really fit this team well. And so I think they could get a result, maybe not win, but maybe advance in penalties past Morocco. And I think after that, getting to the semifinals and whether it's the gold medal match or a bronze medal match would be all you could ask of this American team.
Not the same rhetoric, though, for the women, who are, of course, in action tomorrow as they take on Australia. They were absolutely sensational against Germany, and they'll be looking to continue that sort of form going into this tie, Seb. Are we expecting Emma Hayes to keep the same starting 11, or will there be rotation?
I mean, that's the big question, right? It's a tournament at the Olympics that really forces you to play on a pretty tight schedule. So if you have depth, you ought to be using it. But I think the reason that this U.S. team is starting to look so good under Emma Hayes is obviously some of the tactics that she's putting into place. But she's really settled on an 11, which for a long time under Vlatko Andonovski, you didn't really know what this team's best 11 was. And I think especially when you talk about that midfield 3 and the front 3, you really got to keep those 6 players playing together. And listen, Australia's no easy team to go up against. They're a semifinalist at the last World Cup. Granted, it was on home turf. And I know they've had some rocky results so far here in the Olympics and beforehand, but this is a game where I think it's going to take the United States best to beat the Australians and not just keep their form, Dan, but keep the momentum. It's been a long time since the U.S. women's national team looked this good, and I think probably felt this good about themselves. And another win against Australia with that 11, I think is very achievable, would go a long way to taking some serious momentum into the knockout rounds.
Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Thank you very much, as always, for all your questions. Frank is here, Stevie as well. Stevie, where do you think Liverpool will finish next season?
Top 4.
What position do you think Liverpool will finish next season?
Either 3rd or 4th.
Who are you worried about?
Who am I worried about?
Yeah, which team do you think? Well, obviously, City and Arsenal first and second. I think that's a given.
I'm not worried about anybody in particular.
You must be worried about someone because you don't think they're going to.
No, I just think there'll be teething problems, and when there's teething problems, then you drop points. But I don't think they'll drop enough that they won't be in the top 4.
So who would finish third then?
I don't know. If you ask me,
Yeah, I know.
well, City, Arsenal, and Liverpool will be 3 of the 4, right?
Okay.
But if you ask me who the 4th one,
Right.
I think there's like, Chelsea, United, Newcastle.
Villa.
Did Villa do what they do again? Who am I missing? Spurs? Did Spurs kick on? I can't put my hat on any of those to be in that 4th spot. I just think those 3 I told you will be 3 of the 4.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine. I think you'll finish third, Stevie.
It really is to be determined because we don't know what.
It will be that's the excitement of sport, isn't it?
It's
See
really
what's going to
difficult.
happen. It's very exciting. Frank, Chelsea have more players on their books than an NFL team, and they're linked to more signings. How is that not a recipe for disaster? How can a manager function with a squad of over 50 players?
Well, he won't get 50 players. He will have to make a choice and work maybe with 30 at the max, and then try to work on the player that he just signed, the player that he wants them to leave. So it's complicated. It's of course complicated to challenge everybody and to make sure that everybody is spot on. It's almost impossible. So I think he will have his first 15. That he will make a second choice kind of players, and then sees with the injuries and what the board wants. Because also the board will say, we don't want him to play because we want him to play because we want to sell him, or we don't want him to play because we don't want to see him anymore and we want him to decide to go. So it's complicated for a coach, and nothing is it's already in position. I think the coach is right now trying to find the player that he wants and can work with him in the way that he wants him to work, tactically meaning, and then he will take his decision, get the number, and I say he already has like 20 players, and then he will, for the last 10, decide whether they're going to stay or not, and the 20 others, they will have to go.
I completely forgot Lukaku is still a Chelsea player. So you remind us today. Jorgensen's official, the goalkeeper, has made the move from Villarreal in the last 10 minutes. Yep, that's a nice face.
Again, they've basically got 3 goalkeepers that I don't think any of us are.
They're all 6 out of 10, aren't they?
Well, you're all like. Would it make any difference whichever one played? That's kind of what it seems like right now. Now, according to said, the guy Jorgensen, the second part of the La Liga season, he thought he really took off and took a step forward, and that's probably why they've bought him. But other than that, it's kind of much of a muchness, isn't it?
Stevie, if your team is struggling during pre-season, do you experiment by doing different tactics, starting different lineups, or do you let your team work through the struggles?
Well, I think before you even kick a ball pre-season, you figure out what you want to be doing.
Right.
And you can't just start again after a couple of games if things don't go right. So I think you've got to try and work your way through it. Unless there's always that odd occasion when it's possible that you can see that the players are not buying it.
Okay.
And if
I imagine that's quite apparent, is it?
yeah, you'll tell by the way they're training, the way they're all hanging about, and
Greeting.
the old classic body language.
Oh, yes. Oh, you're just such an expert.
If you're a proper coach, you'll smell it.
Right.
And then you've got to find a direction to go in. But 99 times out of 100, you stay focused on what your plan is and work through it.
Frank, do you still view PSG as the favourites in Ligue 1 now that Mbappe has joined Real Madrid? Which teams do you see as their main challengers?
I have to say that knowing that Mbappe is gone, that I'm already in charge of the Premier League for ESPN, and I have to say that I didn't check out, who could be the contender and
you don't care, Frank.
and the
That's
team
fair
who
enough.
can contest. Well, sorry, I don't care.
You don't care?
Yeah, I think I don't care. I think they are fighting for the right. I'm very concerned about the League One. I have some people, friends of mine, working for the League One, and they say they don't know for the rights right now, the TV rights. They are fighting for it. The right time, the great time with Neymar, Ibrahimovic, then Messi, of course Mbappe before, Cavani, all those players, even Sanchez, is kind of past. And the light on the League One will be absolutely minimum, I think, this season. So Paris Saint-Germain is going to win it because I don't see anybody else. Maybe Monaco, I don't know what they're going to do. But really, most players, the good players, they go abroad because they're going to get more money and more fame. So it's not a good thing for League One.
How would you deal, Stevie, with unrealistic demands from a manager, like demanding you to do actions that are nowhere near your skill set? Did you have anyone ask you to do anything beyond you felt comfortable with?
I mean, a manager that does that to players
Don't know their players.
he doesn't know what he's doing. They won't last long. So as long as you're under contract, you're okay. Because a guy who does that, it's only going to end in failure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I personally haven't. No.
Yeah, you agree, Frank? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I would have come to his office and say, why do you want me to do that? You know me. Get the best out of me, not the worst out of me. Doing that, you're going to get the worst. So it's not knowing me that asking me that. But in the same time, you know what? I didn't sign in Italy, for example, when I was playing because that wasn't the kind of football I loved. I was very offensive. I saw Laurent Blanc being criticized in Napoli because he was very offensive. At the time, the model was Franco Baresi, for example, or Costa Curta, the player very strong defensively, not going above the medium line on the field. So I say no, I don't want to go there because that's not I'm not that type of player. And you have the right to say no, and even you have the right to say to a manager, no, I don't want to play like that. It's not who I am, and I feel that it's not my plan in my career.
I would say, for the manager or the coach, whoever's in charge, it's probably the most important thing that you have to know.
Right.
Is what your players can do.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then you can't. The tactics and everything else goes out the window. So that's why if a guy doesn't figure out his players, that's why he's going to fail very, very quickly.